Advertising on the Super Bowl is viewed as part of the entertainment itself, which makes it totally unique. People will watch the Super Bowl primarily to watch the ads if they're not particularly interested in the game. In fact, several studies have shown that about half of people are watching the Super Bowl primarily to watch the ads. It's the only program where people will take a bathroom break during the game, right, or during the show, in order to make it back in time for the ads. The one thing that still makes Super Bowl so attractive for a major advertiser is this massive ability to reach this audience and then leverage it into these digital platforms so that you've got this really wraparound support system that really engages consumers. Then you've got this massive opportunity that you just can't find anywhere else. So unlike other, advertising on prime time or some of these other options, the Super Bowl just is different. And a lot of marketers would say Super Bowl advertising is more important now than it has been in the past, as this one shining star of traditional advertising that can get you a whole lot of play in other media. The best ads have this really strong, what we would call brand linkage. The brand is a part of the story, and it maybe even is the hero of the story, so that you couldn't just take that brand out and put any other brand in its place. Doritos has been really good over the past 10 years or so of doing these funny little quirky ads, but it's always a situation where the chips are part of it. The chips are part of the story. And so no one mistakes it for anything else. My favorite Super Bowl ad of all time is really old school. It's Larry Bird and Michael Jordan, and they're playing horse for a Big Mac and fries. But one of the really interesting things about that ad is that it wasn't a hugely successful ad. In fact, it has this really interesting marketing story behind it. So the recall for that ad was massive. When you went out on the street the day after the Super Bowl and asked people, hey, what ads do you remember seeing? Which were the best ads from last night's Super Bowl? Inevitably, people would say, oh, that Larry Bird ad, oh, that Michael Jordan Larry Bird ad, that was really great. But the next killer question is, who was the ad for? In this case, it wasn't that people were like, oh gosh, I actually don't know. They thought they knew, and they were absolutely 100% confident that that was a Nike ad because of Jordan's affiliation with Nike. With the increase in the importance of social media or the availability of those channels for consumers to directly comment on your advertising, it has become a much bigger risk in terms of doing something negative, right? Companies really do need to carefully vet their advertising and do their homework ahead of time to make sure that the reaction of not just their target market, but other people outside their target market is going to be a positive one. Everybody's watching the Super Bowl. It's not a narrow demographic where you can really just speak to 18 to 24-year-old males or whoever your target market is. Even if it's something that your target market would enjoy, you've got 100 million other people who are also going to see it and have the ability to comment on it, call you out. So that can definitely cut both ways, and smart advertisers make sure that buzz is going to be positive. Super Bowl advertising in the past, was largely just a 30-second commercial, and there weren't a lot of other methods to employ or other techniques to employ. Now a Super Bowl ad is not just the ad, but it's also going to have all of these other opportunities to be leveraged before the game, during the game, after the game. A big trend now is finding ways to really allow your users or your consumers to engage, using a hashtag, encouraging users to develop a post, a tweet, an Instagram, a photo, a video that shows their way of interacting with the brand. And then, directing it to the brand using a hashtag, and then a massive audience can then also see this personal connection that consumers have with brands. That just simply didn't exist before. And now you really see brands using that in a smart way and finding that they have to leverage it in that way if they really want to get their money out of their Super Bowl investment.